Yes, everybody, what's going on? My name is Stephen Howson. This is Full Time Devils. This is the preview for Boxing Day clash with Huddersfield. Before we get into that, we have got a cheeky commercial seal. Full Time Devils is partnered with Quiff, the only sports betting app where your bet could be supercharged. For every new deposit, you'll receive a further £10 surprise bet, courtesy of Quiff's Full-Time Devils partnership. This bet is chosen for you, could also be supercharged, and should it win, the potential winnings are withdrawable in cash, including the stakes, so there's basically no wagering requirements. We're also running a competition. The largest percentage Quiff bet will win a signed 1999 Ole Gunnar Solskjaer shirt. Any bet on the Huddersfield versus United game counts. Entries close at full time in the Newcastle game next week. We fancy Marshall at 15-4. First goal scorer, potential returns of £23.75 for a £5 stake. Our last bet last week, Marcus Rashford, 9-2. First goal scorer, that came in. That got quiffed at 23-4, which meant that we won £33.75 off our £5 stake instead of £22.50 if it hadn't been supercharged. Remember, T's and C's apply, over 18s and be gamble aware. Link, if you'd like to get in the mix on all of that, is in the description. It's time to get absolutely off our heads, and I'm going to come to Paul first of all. I'm not even going to check my notes. I'm not even supposed to what we're talking about. Paul, if he beats Tottenham and that makes us 6 out of 6 under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, does he get a 30-year contract, yes or no?
I can't believe you're starting with a stitch up, Steve.
Of course he does, is the answer.
It's Christmas. The question of what the bar is for him to get the job permanently is a genuinely fascinating question, and I really
It's got to be on the table, hasn't it? It's got to be in someone's head.
More than anything, it's just technically possible. Because I'm not saying this is going to happen. I just want to make it very clear. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but if he wins every game, then you're obviously going to give him the job, right? And so if we all take as a working assumption that he's not going to win every game, what is the kind of point at which he doesn't get the job? What percentage or what kind of bars does he have to hit to be in serious contention? Are we saying top 4, or are we saying top 4 in style? Are we saying the FA Cup? That seems very unlikely, given it didn't keep the job for some permanent managers. If we don't do very well in the league, but somehow Skanker winning the Champions League, does he keep the job? There's a lot of different permutations, and it's kind of fascinating. But I in a way, even though my dream scenario would without doubt be United win every game between now and the end of the season, and Ole Solskjaer is our manager for 25 years, 30 years, sorry. Yeah, he's quite young, isn't he? So he's got a little bit of extra time in him. So that's the dream scenario. But on the other hand, I actually like the fact that United seem to be applying some sort of long-term sensible vision to this, and I think throwing that out for the feel-good factor is, I don't know, how good. That's got to be one heck of a feel-good factor.
Adam, have you got any issues with the players turning up and playing for one manager but not for the other?
No, because I don't think that's the case. I think it's a different approach, different message, different. It might only be a temporary shift. I think in the long term, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactical nous will come into it, because there's only so long that positive impact of, just unleashing them a little bit can have on the players. But in terms of them playing for Ole and not for Jose, I completely disagree with. If the players had, as some like to accuse them of, sold Jose down the river and kind of, thrown their toys out of the pram and down tools is the quote you hear a lot. If that was the case, we would have lost against Newcastle. We would have lost a load of other games that we could have. And I just can't agree with that. I think Jose wasn't getting a trick out of the players, and I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer coming in, I think anybody could have really gone in, to be honest, and gave that message. It's a complete opposite message. He's telling the players that they are good at things. So when players go onto the pitch and they're hearing that you are very good, you can take risks, you can make mistakes as long as you make up for them, you can get forward a little bit more, your fullbacks are going to be much further forward from you. Paul Pogba's getting the ball now, and he's got 4, 5, 6 players in front of him rather than 2 or 3 and one of them being Romelu Lukaku, who's very static. So I don't think it's a case of them playing for one manager and not playing for the other. I think the message with Jose Mourinho had just wore thin. I think his man management style had caused issues, and I think as a result, he rightfully lost his job. Whether Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the man long term, I doubt, and I'm skeptical of. Look, I would love us to win the Champions League. I'd love us to get top 4. I'd love us to do all that under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and him to be the man for the future. But I'm also scared of us being sold another dream. And, you know, he can do well as an interim manager, but signing a contract for 3, 4, 5 years as manager, putting yourself under that pressure, and then you're becoming a manager that's probably not seen as much of a friend to these players as you are at the moment. I think that's when the true test comes, and I'd like to see United at least explore other options, because even if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer works, it doesn't mean he's the perfect choice, because there's still better options out there. But if we explore those options, Pochettino, for example, or whoever, and we can't get them, and Ole has done well, then give him a go, as long as there's a structure in place around him, I think.
It'll be interesting to see if Ole does actually come in and manages to win a trophy, even if it's just an FA Cup, and then people are still demanding Pochettino's given an opportunity, given all the things he's had, the circumstances and everything like that. Right, John, given what's just happened, don't just say Mourinho, but what's the biggest difference between what we've seen on the pitch for United?
It has to be the increase in intensity, the tempo, the forward movement, the progression in terms of the way the ball moves through the thirds. I mean, the feel-good factor is obvious, but when you're looking at the performance on the pitch, each of the players look hungry to go forward. And I'm not saying that they weren't looking to go forward under Jose Mourinho, because that defeats the purpose of playing football in general. But when you look at those players on that pitch when we were playing against Cardiff, they were willing to try and move the ball on that first touch, the second touch. Everybody sort of trying to overlap not overlap. They were trying to sort of weave and turn and make it difficult for Cardiff to read the movements, and especially when the ball was in the final third, they were constantly trying to make the movement as quickly as possible. Normally, when you see the ball move under Jose Mourinho, that tempo is so slow, especially when it comes out from the back. You look at the defenders; they take a touch and then they take a second touch, and then they move. If it's a big switch from across if it's a diagonal, it takes 2-3 touches for that to happen. When the ball goes to the midfield, especially when it comes to Matic, it takes so long for that ball to move. But that intensity was there from the first minute to the end. Constantly, the ball just constantly moving forward, and that's exactly what got the fans excited, because we were able to see that Manchester United were willing to move the ball forward. When you move the ball, the rule of thumb is when you move the ball generally faster, it's a little bit more harder to place those accurate passes, being an obvious situation. But Manchester United weren't afraid to take those risks. They weren't afraid to play that aggressive, sort of a little bit more riskier style of play. And look how well it turned out for us. And that was a major factor in sort of reinstating that feel-good factor on the pitch.
Well, you nailed it there, man. You said from the first minute to the 90th, we scored in the second minute, and we scored in the 90th minute. That literally illustrates the intensity, and the intensity was there from that first minute. Everyone was like, oh my days. Now, Mac, Old Trafford, Boxing Day, everyone was excited about going anyway. Can you even imagine how good this atmosphere is going to be like? You expecting a good atmosphere on Wednesday?
We were excited about going anyway, let's be real.
No, I mean, I was from Wednesday onwards.
The other day, I was obviously I wasn't in Cardiff. I was at the boxing, and I made an effort to watch the game, and I thought to myself, would I have made an effort to watch this game had Ole not been in charge? And I think the honest answer to that was no. I would have kept in touch with the score, but not really watched it. As for Boxing Day, I love Boxing Day fixtures. Usually we play Newcastle and beat them 4-2 or something like that. This time around we've got Huddersfield. It's going to be an absolute party atmosphere, because obviously it was a party atmosphere at Cardiff anyway, but it was a smaller allocation of United fans. I think United fans on a whole, I don't think in the stadium there's been infighting as such, but there's been obviously a conflict of opinion a lot, and I think Jose Mourinho leaving is like the virus has gone almost, so United can now just focus on being united, and we're all looking towards the same thing. Even if we were to lose this game, we'd all still be fully behind Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because we realise that, look, he's not going to be around forever, and also he's here to do a job, which is to stabilise things. But it's going to be an amazing game against Huddersfield, I think. I think it's going to be a very good game. And it was interesting to see tactically Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the way we were playing, because what you got to understand, like, he's been at Cardiff, he's been at Molde. Now, the message that he's passing on to players there that are obviously less talented, maybe his message could actually be perfect for this group of players that we have. Like, look, Jose Mourinho with a different group of players can still do a job, but he hasn't got his man management style, his tactical. He's not flexible enough, and it looks like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is flexible enough to what we have here in front of us. And like what John was explaining, the style of football that we were playing, I don't know whether that was just because it's a little honeymoon period or whatever with the players, but it was refreshing. We had the fullbacks, Shaw and Young, were so far forward. We had Anthony Martial and Marcus Rashford just dropping in and out. Lingard's movement causing all sorts of problems.
The mood has changed already. We've seen that the mood has definitely lifted already. Something that sort of got leaked out by United on Tuesday was you're not going to be criticising our new manager like you criticised the old manager. Ollie's coming in and saying the right things for the fans to hear, but he's also saying a lot of the right things for the press to hear, isn't he? Think that the press might have a new favourite in him, or do you think we're still going to get treated the way we do because we're United?
Oh, I think it's good. I think we're a big part of that honeymoon phase where everybody's sort of kind of in this sort of, I don't want to say joyous period.
Louis van Gaal and Jose didn't get a honeymoon phase though.
Yeah, but Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. But that's the thing, is Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho are they're known as characters. I mean, if people recall Louis van Gaal's old press against Ajax when he was coaching AZ Alkmaar. I forgot, he was in a TV show, and then the guy was like, "Why didn't you ask me about tactics?" And he just walked out. Like, these guys have known to be characters. He knows exactly what the fans have been dreading for. He himself has been a fan, and I'm trying to stay away from the sort of fairy tale responses here, because I guess from a viewer's perspective, us four sitting here might sound like we're kind of over the top and whatnot. But, what's certain is certain. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been hitting all the right boxes with respect to the way he's been handling the fans, with respect to how he's been handling his players. And that feel-good factor comes from a manager's ability to come out and really speak for his team, speak for Manchester United. I mean, when was the last time? I can't remember the last time Jose Mourinho and Louis van Gaal came out and we were having a really, really good feeling about what they were going to say about Manchester United. I mean, it's completely different. And irrespective of honeymoon or not, the fact that the manager comes out and really knows what to say and is ticking the boxes, and not in a very suck-up way, but it looks like it's coming from the heart, and that's what's very exciting for us fans to see. It doesn't matter. I personally wouldn't care about the results. I think the feel-good factor is the most important part of this season. I think he's really taking a really good first step in that.
Paul, you just said Louis did get a honeymoon phase, but at the end of the transfer window, they was saying that he turned his back on United tradition for selling Welbeck.
Yes, yes.
Never let Welbeck go!
There was some negative criticism, but there was also a significant honeymoon phase with both of them. You also said Van Gaal and Mourinho. Generally speaking, the press coverage when Mourinho took over was, this is going to work, this is a logical appointment, etc., etc., etc.
So we did see a difference, and definitely a difference in the speed of on the football pitch, and that was the most impressive thing for me. The speed of transition, Paul, that was the biggest factor. How's he managed to put that in 2 days and 2 training sessions?
And I think this is one of the things where we have to be slightly measured about that result and see that result as genuinely as much about the cumulative effect of Mourinho going and Solskjaer arriving and the buzz and all that kind of stuff. That's some of that. But if I had to sum up the key difference in 2 words, it would be fullbacks. If you just look at the position of the fullbacks in those games, when I watched them, I remember being at Old Trafford for the Michael Carrick testimonial where Fergie managed one of the sides. And this is so stupid, right? But I got a little bit emotional at one point watching that. And the point at which I got emotional was seeing that both of the fullbacks stayed up. And so I was like, oh, God, I remember when both of our fullbacks used to stay up. And if you look at that Cardiff game, the fullbacks were so advanced. And it meant that there were options all of the time. Because, Pogba, one of the biggest criticisms he gets is the kind of dallying on the ball too much.
He's looking for options.
Exactly. So often that's about he's got no one to pass the ball to. And you know, the idea that like they were all a bunch of snakes and they weren't playing for Mourinho and la la la. Like Nemanja Matic just had his best game for United. Nemanja Matic, Jose's guy, 100%. Just had his maybe not his best game ever for United, but certainly his best game this season.
Certainly a game I didn't think he had in his locker at the time as well.
Full enough. Ronaldinho flicks and stuff like that. Like.
The one-touch flicks in the final third was definitely someone had gone, lads, express yourself. Just go play what you see, and just have fun.
And one of the main frustrations I've had with Mourinho was how evident it was that he was trying to get players to do something they weren't very good at instead of allowing them to do the thing they were extremely good at. And I would say that the simple answer of how it happened so quickly was literally just saying, lads, you're dead good at football. Go out and do all your football stuff that you're dead good at. But that game was Fergie-esque, not in terms of like, oh my God, we're back, the glory days are here. It was Fergie-esque in style and structure. Fullbacks dead wide, dead far forward, and then attackers kind of free to do what they wanted. That was, very Fergie-esque. But Solskjaer, if you look who he's following on Twitter, he's a bit of a Guardiola stan, and I'm not against that. I don't think that's a bad thing. He likes a bit of juego del posición and all that business.
Me and Chris was actually having this conversation just before we started, actually, where I said he's very Guardiola-esque in the slow build-up, the keeper pulling it out from the back, but those transitions from back to front isn't necessarily Guardiola-esque, and I think that's the influence of Carrick and McKenna on this team. And I think that it is an actual team behind this team that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to get a lot of the credit for. And I hope it's him that gets the credit. And as it stands right now, he gets a 30-year contract for me. Anyway,
Mike Phelan too.
Mike Phelan was at United. He had about 9 different job titles, but ultimately he was involved from 1999 to 2013. And if you have a look what we won a thing or two in that time. So I think this guy knows his onions. Anyway, let's cut to a quick ad break. Right then, it is predicted 11 times. This is where we're going to go through and see what the lads reckon Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's team. I'd still want to say the other fella. It's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's team. Predicting what he's going to do this week is hard because there will be rotation. He was kind of criticised heavily for his rotation at Cardiff. He says he's learnt from it. But I'm still expecting a little bit of a change in the team, which makes it tough for these boys as they're predicting their 11. So we have got a league going on. Currently top of that league is Dale O'Donnell with 9.2 average. Mo Butt's also on 9.2, but from only 4 appearances. Jig Sport Dave's on 9 out of 3. And we have got myself on 8.2. And Paul, you're also on 8.2 as well from 10 appearances, this being your 11th. Adam, can't find you. Where are you? You're on 7.9, and John Shin, you're on 7.5. Day got 5. Was that a League Cup game or something? Unlucky. That's pretty unfortunate. So we're going to have a go through this. We're going to go start with you, Adam, and give us your starting 11 for Boxing Day.
David De Gea in goal. I think we're going to see Luke Shaw and Delo as the fullbacks. I think we'll get to see Delo in the home game. I have a feeling Jose Ole's going to be very on the ball with his. Remember how like people used to say Fergie would let you know, and we've already hearing rumours that Mason Greenwood's playing against Reading and stuff like that.
No, we haven't. Can I just stop you there on that? We haven't heard that. There was a headline that he's told Mason Greenwood to be ready. The article states nothing of the sort. Doesn't mention Reading. Doesn't mention any particular youngsters. Right, mentions nothing of the sort. It's the Mirror lying.
Yeah, but I think he's going to be very on the ball with letting players know when they're going to play and keeping them on side and keeping them motivated. And you heard Wayne Rooney saying that Jose wasn't very communicative. He didn't speak enough to people about why they were being dropped or why they weren't playing or whatever. So I think he's going to be different. But I think we'll see Delo, Shaw, Bailly, Smalling. We'll get to see Bailly and probably Smalling together as we got to see Lindelof and Jones together last time. I think Fred's going to get a start with Herrera and Pogba. That's not to say Matic was bad against Cardiff. I think Matic played well, but I hope Ole recognises that he can't play every single week, every single game. And a game like Huddersfield, you'd hope that you could rest him for. Then further forward, Anthony Martial. Rashford. I think we're going to go Rashford and Lingard again. I don't know what's going on with Alexis Sanchez. Romelu Lukaku's away with the family bereavement, I believe. So I think we'll see the same front three.
Interesting. I think he might switch up the formation myself. I think he might go 4-2-3-1.
Oh no! Wait!
I think Juan's going to play.
Wait! Matta's starting this game. Matta is starting this game.
So how are you putting him in? We can't put your finger up without you telling us where.
I'm thinking.
Right back.
He's going to be Pogba, Herrera, Matta. No Fred.
Okay. Interesting. John, do you want to give us your 11, please?
Yeah, I went.
Just imagine Matta and Solskjaer hugging for a second.
Liverpool fans aren't happy about that. They thought hugs was their thing.
You did rip Klopp a lot, and then pictured loads of pictures.
No, I never ripped him for that.
Hugging players.
I ripped him for not winning trophies.
You knew what you were doing when you tweeted that, Steve, is what I'm going to say.
Allegedly. Go on, John.
You reeled that mofo out. Fishing like I do on Red Dead Redemption. It's cool. I caught a big one the other day.
Have you got all
shut up, you dick! John, go on.
Have you got all the legendaries, Adam?
Took me half an hour.
All right, so I'm gonna go in a 4-2-3-1. I'm gonna go David De Gea in goal. I have my back four, Luke Shaw and Diogo Dalot as the fullbacks, and I think Lindelof's gonna hold his spot. And I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is probably gonna opt for Bay in this game. I don't think Phil Jones is gonna continuously get game in game out. I think there's gonna be a chance for Ole to see what his back four really looks like, and out of all of his central defensive options, I think probably Lindelof stands out as probably the best performer so far, and he's probably going to rotate Phil Jones with Bailly in that respect. I think the two holding defensive midfielders is probably going to be Pogba and Matic. I want it to be Pogba and Herrera, but I think holy shit. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to probably still opt for Matic, and Mata in the 10 with Martial on the left, Lingard on the right, and Rashford up top.
Everyone's enjoying Rashford at the moment, aren't they? I do think his place is pretty secure. Paul, what's your 11, mate?
Yeah, that tweet from Solskjaer of a picture of Rashford with a Rashford shirt draped over his TV tells you where Solskjaer stands on the subject of Marcus Rashford. I'm not as convinced as everyone else that he's going to rotate the back five, because the only reason you rotate that back five is to kind of give everyone a chance. Because I don't think you need to do it for fitness purposes after that one game. I think after this game, then maybe you say, yeah, okay, then we'll rotate out. But actually, that back five was extremely effective as a unit, defensively too. Like, Jones and Lindelof did really well in that game, and so I wouldn't be surprised if that stays the same.
Lindelof could have had an assist.
Lindelof was absolutely magnificent on the ball, and he was majestic. Basically, he was like a majestic elk in that game. Sorry, it's a Red Dead thing. Anyway, DDG, not RDR in goal. Young, Lindelof and Shaw across the back. And then, yeah, like the boys, I think Herrera, Mata, Pogba makes sense as a midfield.
Young, Lindelof and Shaw, you're missing somebody.
Young, did I say not Jones? Sorry. No, Young, Lindelof, Jones and Shaw. Herrera, Mata, Pogba. And then Lingard, Rashford, Martial. I think I don't see why that would change. So just the one change, actually. And really, it's a two-letter change, because you just delete the I and the C and you add the A, and then you submit the team sheet. It's very light on admin if you make these changes. I quite
actually think it's probably going to be somewhere along those lines. I think you probably allow Pogba and Herrera to play as a two and actually put Mata further forward, or maybe him and Lingard get the same sort of responsibilities. One goes wide, one stays central. We will see. Let us know your starting 11s in the description, or in the comments even, once we get it done. Right, Paul, I'm going to stick with you. Do you want to give us what you know about Huddersfield? Interesting formation at the weekend?
Yeah, I've definitely heard of two of their players.
All right, high five.
Because the thing that's happened this year is I haven't watched much of the day. I think this weekend, just gone.
Oh yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, on BBC they do this show, right? I've only just found out about this, where they show all the highlights of the games. Who knew? It's on like 10:30 on Saturday nights. It's wicked. Definitely check that out. As you were, Paul.
Yeah, it's like rediscovering an old friend watching match of the day again. Because I even when we've played well this season, I've not particularly had the impulse to watch it afterwards. As a consequence of which, I've paid very little attention to anyone that's like not in the top six. So my knowledge of Huddersfield is very limited, except for they're managed by Mini Klopp, and So they do play that mini clock football, and I think he's done a pretty marvellous job there, all things considered. And I've totally heard of Philip Billing, so there you go. That's some proper good knowledge, isn't it? He's a proper player. It's going to be fascinating to see what happens to him in his career.
John, talk to me about Huddersfield.
Oh, I actually watched an extended highlight clip of their game against Southampton, and they looked a mess. They looked a mess defensively at the back. Pardon?
Even Southampton and Huddersfield fans who watch that game.
Did you go to Huddersfield when you visited?
No, I did not.
No, people who live in Huddersfield don't even bother with Huddersfield.
But no, they looked a shambles at the back. They were all over the place, and for Southampton players like Danny Ings to be able to just completely dismiss their back line and just they were running backwards on their heels and tripping over their own heel. It was just kind of a mess. And I think this is a perfect opportunity for our offensive players to really exploit that back line again. I didn't really see much of a threat. Granted, it was only an extended highlight, but nonetheless, I with all due respect to Huddersfield, I don't think this should be much of a challenge. And just to quickly touch up on what you guys were talking with Paul before, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to want to slightly rotate his players and options before he really sees before a big test comes up. So I think Spurs is probably going to be our next big test. So he's going to really want to see every single one of his players and see how they perform, so that he can kind of pick his own best 11 by the time.
Apart from Lee Grant, because obviously he knows what he's getting with Lee Grant, doesn't he? I mean, he's just kind of letting David De Gea play for now, and maybe come Spurs, we'll see Lee Grant given the number 1 jersey, obviously.
Yeah, well,
Adam,
a few players that can cause us problems, but I think they're gonna have seen what we did against Cardiff. They're gonna expect. This is the thing that I like. Like, you know, the thing that used to frustrate me, we'd play like we're playing against Real Madrid every single week, 2 holding midfielders or even 1 sometimes, but it would be very rigid in fluidity and flexibility. And now, if Cardiff game's anything to go by, we're seeing that when we play these kind of teams, the Huddersfields, the Cardiffs, we're just going to absolutely go for it. And even if we do give them a chance or 2 and they score a goal, yes, it's frustrating for David De Gea, but we're going to create so many chances that it doesn't matter. So I'm looking forward to it in that aspect. I do think
scored 2.
David Wagner's he's a better manager than Neil Warnock, and he's I don't know whether he's got a better set of players. So my theory is Pochettino and Ollie are in some sort of battle. Ollie got 5, Poch got 6. Ollie's going to get 7. It's going to be 7-0.
Are you including the goals against in this though? Because it was still only a 4-goal margin.
David De Gea's furious that we conceded against Cardiff. As a result, he's going to be on it.
So you're keeping it pretty chill, just going for 7-0. All right, John, what score are you going for?
I'm going for 4-1.
Now, goals galore.
Miserable bastard. Paul, would you like to give us your score prediction, please?
Yeah, if you thought that was miserable, I'd be surprised, very delightedly surprised. But you know, we're extrapolating an awful lot from 90 minutes of football, so I'm going to try against every fabric of my instinct to rein back, because like my brain is just shouting, "Say 5-1, say 5-1, it's going to be 5-1." But I'm going to go with 3-1, like a grown up, and say, you know, hey,
don't ask me.
Martial's scoring. Oh my! How good is Martial?
What you be here for being a grown up?
Mate, listen.
That's what you're here for.
Everybody at home, Anthony Martial survived Jose Mourinho, and he's still here, ladies and gentlemen! 50 million down the drain as Tony Marshall scores again. I've given up being a grown-up now.
Right, I'm just going to keep it nice, a lid on it, and I'm just going to say 8-1 again like I did last week. We have got a commercial seal for you, and that is with Quiff, the only sports betting app where you could get your bet supercharged. For every new deposit on Quiff, you'll receive a £10 surprise bet courtesy of our partnership with Quiff. This bet is chosen for you, and you could also be supercharged should it win. The potential winnings are withdrawable in cash, including the stake, so basically there's no wagering requirements. We're also running a competition. The largest percentage quiff bet will win a signed 1999 Ole Gunnar Solskjaer shirt. Any bet on Huddersfield versus United game counts. Entries close at full time in the Newcastle game next week. We fancy Marshall at 15-4. First goal scorer, potential return of 23.75 off a fiver. T's and C's apply. Over 18s only. Be gamble aware. Link is in the description below to enter. If he does this, I'm going to absolutely brain him. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to give all these a follow. Subscribe to Full Time Devils, and we'll see you afterwards. See you in a bit.
It's Christmas time.
Not bad.